Welcome back to another episode of hashtag What Does It Take to Be a GOAT, alongside Paul Guarino, Jason Torey. Another 2 episodes down, getting closer to the end of the series. Initial thoughts on episode 7 and 8.
Yeah, I'll go first, I guess. Yeah, so 7 I thought was one of the best episodes so far. I mean, I think obviously we haven't seen anything yet, but I think 5 and 7 were the best 2 so far. 7 was obviously dope. It just got deeper into what Jason been wanting. I think a little more backstory on him, and then him playing baseball when he was younger. Then, his dad getting murdered was obviously terrible, but then that made him want to go play baseball, which was cool. At his prime of his career, right? And then he just gave it up pretty much. And then episode 8 was also good. So I don't know. What were your thoughts, Jason?
As I've been watching many Netflix series, I think that 6 is always the worst episode. You lose interest, but it's been so good on these high-end ones or these high media ratings. We always know this was going to be a great series. But 6, they always bring it kind of down. I think this is a psychological experiment they do. And then 7 comes roaring back and really keeps you engaged. So you want to finish out the series of every episode. Usually there's 10 in at least each season. Again, he hit the pivotal points of being a great father, the relationship between that. Is this a conspiracy? Brewing some drama in there. Again, it was insane to show him he's a freaking athlete, like a man amongst boys. That he want to highlight when he was in his baseball career. They couldn't put him in the pros right away because they want to be fair, but he had a batting average of 202, which is so ridiculous, and 50 RBIs that season. There's not many rookies that ever come in and do that. So actually not going to talk about baseball today on a side note, but George Springer is 8th anniversary of the year he hit his first home run. So it's kind of like you're looking at these rookies and the freak athletes. I went to school with George Springer at Avon Old Farms. And to see him perform at the highest level in high school was a whole different eye-popping experience. The men amongst boys as usual. So I think Jordan, he, as they really touched on big things, is with his teammates, he had certain standards and he knew what the people's skills were and what tools they needed each year to win after one another. This rubbed off on Tony Kukoc, Scotty when he left, and Scotty sat down and was pissed off about when he said Kukoc was going to give the final last shot. Those were kind of eye-opening points in this. And I think that's what I have to say quickly. But Aaron, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with you guys. 7 was, one of my favorite episodes. I love the start of episode 7, just with the Jerry Krause press conference and the guy asking him the question, and he was just and he got all pissed off and he walked off, and then it goes right with the one reporter saying to the other guy, "Great job, Craig." And it was I'm pretty sure it was Craig Sager who asked him that question, RIP, that pissed off Jerry Krause. But I think that it was interesting to see Jordan's exhaustion, by the end of 1993 season. They had, coming off the back of 2 championships, trying to three-peat for the first time and becoming one of, I think, the second team to ever three-peat. It was just interesting to see the mentality of that, because it's so rare that someone can have that hunger after winning 2 championships back to back. But that just goes to show Jordan's mindset. He was really never satisfied, and they kind of got into that in episode 8, that never satisfied mentality. His relationship with his dad, to me, was really special to see. The one thing, though, I really didn't like in episode 7 was how the media really tried to make it out to be it was Jordan's fault that his dad was killed. I think that's just a different level of disrespecting somebody, especially somebody who's grieving through losing a parent. So that was kind of crazy. But now I understand why he went to play baseball, because he was just so tired of all the things he had to deal with in basketball. So it makes so much more sense that he decided to just leave the game altogether. And I definitely loved the Jordan and Scott Burrell relationship. Paul texted me asking me if Scott was my cousin. Unfortunately, as far as I know, we are not related. But but the last he's doing the last name proud, so definitely respect that.
Yeah, I don't
I
know
think
if you guys saw the part where he was talking to him as he went to UConn, and he was talking about UConn women's basketball. So I thought that was pretty dope because that was
I think
20
that
years
that
ago.
was showing a good side of his sense of humor.
Yeah.
He's
And
like, I heard they had a good women's team.
yeah, and the
Connecticut, the women team's pretty good. I mean, that's about it. So
in the baseball thing, I thought it was dope that I don't know if you guys caught it there. I think Jason, you just pointed out on it that I think it was the Cubs or something offered him to just go play straight, or maybe it was the White Sox too. They told him he could go straight to the majors, but he didn't want it. He was like, "Nah, I want to earn it."
Yeah, that is dope. And also, like, it was crazy that after he went through that 13-game hitting streak, how quickly the press turned on him when he went through his like first slump in the minors. But it was also crazy that he went straight to Double A because he couldn't go to Single A because like the stadiums, just the press boxes weren't big enough for the amount of media attention that they needed.
That actually brings up a great point. I think the coolest thing to see is the minute he showed up to training camp, the whole thing was beyond packed. To the point people were literally sneaking under fences to get one camera shot of him, and like parried on top of each other, kind of like when Barry Bonds hits balls out of San Francisco Park and they're fighting over the ball in the bay in canoes. Yeah. I mean, this is a sports addiction of 101. I mean, this is pretty crazy. The media, the critics, and just like the fascination of just seeing one glimpse of the guy so you can get that one shot to put in some magazine or press. And that's probably what they're thinking. And I mean, that was a cool moment. One of the highlights, I think, of the first 2 episodes. Also, I think one other thing I want to mention, this is really important, and obviously it's been advertised on Instagram and Facebook, is his trainer, Tim Galver. And I actually downloaded the book, Relentless, and I'm listening to it. And the definition of relentless, and it's unbelievable. There's never enough. You always want to find something better. I mean, I've kind of thought about that sometimes. He never, every time he was beat, he goes, "Oh, I got something for you." I mean, he's always going to repeat that. Anyone who said something, don't talk bad about Jordan. Like, he said 45 wasn't the number. He goes, "Oh, I switched to 23 and I shut you down." Or when he put 36 points up in a halftime instead of 37. I mean, that was like, "Oh, you want to play a game? I'll play a real game against BJ Armstrong the next game." I mean, you got to be very careful what you say because it's going to it's reverse psychology in Jordan's brain.
But it's also crazy how the BJ Armstrong thing, they say like later on that he never actually said anything to him, and Jordan just like made it up. Like he could make up stories in his own head to just get like in a different zone.
I mean, when he lost to the Orlando Magic for the first time, the steam coming out of his ears, he literally told Tim that he's going to go. He goes, "When I want to see you, Jordan, I'm going to get out." He goes, "I'll see you tomorrow morning." He was to that day, that year, and then they swept him. I mean, it's like, I know I can be who I want to be, as Nas says. So I think watching these episodes, it pumps everybody up.
Yeah. It wasn't BJ Armstrong, though. BJ Armstrong really did say something. It was the other guy. It was like that random team. I forgot. It was like a rookie or I forgot what the player's name was. Remember, he said that was the lie. The BJ Armstrong one was real.
Yeah. But like the Space Jam stuff was cool in episode 8.
Yeah.
When how he had the entire just like facility built. I had heard stories about how he had I didn't realize that it was at like the Warner Brothers lot, that like how he had invited like Reggie Miller and all them out to come play because he wanted to like really study Reggie Miller's game, and how that paid off in the playoffs that season. How he was like, yeah, I knew exactly what Reggie was going to do because I had been training with him in the summer. But I didn't realize that was on the Warner Brothers lot. Like, that's even more epic. Just like,
well, I think he did that on purpose so he can get your competitive edge. And they got excited to go just play with Jordan and see this whole thing. But his kind of a manipulation game, he was like, "Oh, guess what, guys? I know your secrets. Now I'm going to kick your living ass. Like, let's go."
It's crazy. They said it like that. He was scouting.
I think he was a very bright person. And it's all a mindset with him. It's a lot of psychology in this, as Tim, his trainer, says. You know, there's a lot more muscles above your head than below your body. And I mean, I know there's 57 muscles just in your jaw alone, but God only I mean, your brain's one huge muscle fire, neurons and thoughts every day, all day. I mean, that's what's most important. That's going to generate your success of the day. It's kind of what controls you. So, you know, the decision making to your thoughts to, I think it comes down to one thing I've always kind of lived by is TPD, sorry, think, plan, do. It's 1, 2, 3 kind of 1, 2, 3 punch to execute.
Yeah, Jay, I got a question for you. So obviously you're a trainer and you play multiple sports. And Michael Jordan, like he was talking about like basketball shape and then getting into baseball shape, and they were talking about it's completely different. Like tell me a little bit in depth.
Yeah, so that's something called sports specific. You know, you have a power endurance athlete, kind of like that would be Jordan, because you got to run up and down the court, but you got to explode and have power movements. And then during baseball, you don't need as much endurance; you need more strength and power, and you need an explosion in the rotational core on a swing. You need your hand-eye coming at you instead of using the ball, just catch a pass and shoot. There's also muscle fiber twitches. There's muscle fiber 1, which is more of a slow strength muscle to lengthen. And there's muscle fiber 2, which is a fast twitch muscle. Fast twitch would be power explosive, you know, throwing a ball against the wall with loading up into a squat and exploding out like a spring. And then in baseball, you're doing more of a power rotation, and you're also doing more of a strength to hit the balls out of the park. And in basketball, and also it's more flexibility and stability, I would say, more in basketball, because your upper body needs that long reach to just flow shots instead of in baseball where you need the more muscular strength physique and broader shoulders to get the power out of the rotation. I mean, power is force times acceleration. So the measures of power is in watts, and there's going to be more power generated, like let's say through your legs in basketball than baseball, where you're going to do a trunk rotation and strength more in your upper body. So it's bulk versus stability and flexibility. So I think, I mean, I said it pretty quick, but that's kind of like, I'd say the difference.
Gotcha.
To kind of pivot from that, the Jordan, like how he was talking about how he had to just completely deconstruct his body from baseball shape to basketball shape. That was really interesting for me, just in the fact of like basketball shape is so specific. I remember like asking some of the college basketball players at Sacred Heart just about like how come they don't come out and train with us for like extra stamina, because like I remember one of the guards was saying like, oh, you know, I've been doing a lot of like stamina training so I can play more minutes, and I was like, oh, come out and run with us and like do some soccer workouts. He's like, nah, it's a little bit different because, like, you know, in basketball, you just have moments where, like, the game could turn into a track meet and you're back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah,
and
it's short little sprints, stop and go, pivoting a lot more. I mean, when you're running down the field in a soccer ball in a 30-yard sprint, no one's near you. You can't be tired by the time you get to the goal.
Exactly.
And I mean, how long does it take for you to? You got to watch movement. It all comes down to movement. Strength is easy to develop, but movement is super hard. Jordan naturally had a great athletic movement, and movement is stability and mobility. And you know, let's say you do a squat and your knee rotates in. Jordan's was a perfect form because his body was so intertwined and in sync that, like, you know, you watch his movements, it was just looked like you could dance in a court. I went to high school at Avon Old Farms with a kid named Tim Breckbuehler, and he ended up going to play at North Carolina. He was a pitcher on the mound, but he also got recruited to BC for football, basketball, and lacrosse because he was 6'7", but he ran like the wind. And he was probably 210 pounds soaking wet, but it was because of his movement. And that's what defines and separates athletes. I mean, look at Jordan's pivot, switch, shot. Look at the separation of feet between the guy guarding him when he takes that shot. It's wide open because he's so quick. The guy's already on the floor, and he's like, now I have 2-3 more seconds to think before I even unload the shot. So under pressure with that last 6 seconds to take the shot, the world is slowing down to him. I mean, I've actually been hitting tennis balls right now, and the tennis coach is telling me, wait for that ball about to bounce twice. But you're already coiled up so fast that the minute the ball is about to hit your racket, you're ready to control the court. You know where you're going to place the ball on the other side of the court before that guy can even get there. So it's always thinking one step ahead. Tom Brady sees on the field after playing for many years. He's throwing it's kind of like Wayne Gretzky. Go to where the puck's going to be, not where you are right now. You know, because you're going to get that one step further, and that's going to give you that one more second time in your brain before your muscles are generating it to the playing field to set up the shot. And let's say, you're on a breakaway and you're thinking that way, and you already have the goalie beat one way. You're looking in that corner. You take my buddy Cam Atkinson in the NHL. He'll take a slap to the other way, and the goalie hasn't even moved. Kind of like in lacrosse too, because it's just happening so much slower than the other person than people think. It's one step ahead. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, the ability to slow the game down, and that's what I think separates like the goods from the greats, and also just like the difference in just levels as people progress. Like people will see a kid who's been like a blue chip athlete, like, one of the best his whole career. And then as he progresses through the levels, by the time he gets to the professional level, all of a sudden people, in year 1 and 2, especially with basketball, people start to like forget that they're still figuring out the game. The game is being played differently. It's being played at a different pace. So that ability to slow the game down is what and it comes through repetitive, like you said, it's muscle memory. It comes through, working just constantly on your craft, which is why someone like Jordan, building that facility is just like.
It's funny you say that, because when I played college football, the first snap I took in practice, it was speed. There was no one stronger and faster and tougher than me. It was the speed of the player acting that faster, and that's what you got to adapt to. And it's funny, I correlated that. I was at dinner with Rob Gronkowski and Dane Fletcher one night through some friends, and I asked Dane, "What's the difference? Why are you in the NFL? You look pretty big and stocky. You're not much bigger than me." He goes, "It's one thing. It's how fast the play's developing, speed."
Yeah.
So it comes down to a psychological mind thing. Also, one thing I really funny comment is when Jordan point 2 is in episode 8, when Jordan returned to the Garden for the first time, and he played out of his freaking mind and put up 55 points, and Patrick Ewing saying, I played one hell of a game, but no one remembered that because Jordan was that much more on fire.
It really does happen. It's crazy. A double nickel game.
I don't know if you saw Patrick Ewing's quote this week, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm not watching The Last Dance. Like, I already had to live through
it." Yeah, I don't blame him. Like, listen, if Michael Jordan was the reason, I got knocked out of the playoffs year after year, and we had all these epic battles, I'm not gonna watch this documentary glorifying that. Like, I lived through the painful side on the other side of it. So I don't.
Not to mention that Patrick Ewing was about 7'1" and a freak with a contract through the roof. They were talking from one of the all-time greats saying, "I can't, no Moss."
Yeah, I get it. I 100% get it. Another point in episode 8, after Jordan came back and how he was talking about his teammates like Steve Kerr and those guys who hadn't been there through the first set of championships, but were riding on that publicity of what they had done before when Jordan got back that preseason, and was just he was like, Steve Kerr was like, yeah, he's talking a lot, talking a lot of trash. Like, he was really going after us. But it was that toughness. He knew that he was like, I know that Phil would get mad at him for being so tough on them, but he was like, I knew what it took to get past teams like the New York Knicks and stuff like that. So it was just interesting to see how intense he would be. And in the fight with Steve Kerr, how he was just he was like, yeah, he punched me in the chest, I punched him in the eye. And but those things, he did have the humility to call him after and understand and accept his he is the leader of the team. He can't be doing those types of things and expecting that his teammates are going to follow him if he's just being a complete ass to them all the time and not apologizing when he's wrong. And that's the difference between some people who want to be like Jordan and are intense like that versus people who are of that Jordan caliber, who understand that you are human too, and you have to sometimes be able to connect with your teammates on a human level. Because Steve Kerr is not Michael Jordan. He will never reach Michael Jordan's. He would have never reached Michael Jordan's level, but he needed to feel that connection with Jordan. And he said, once he apologized to me, we talked things out, and I was war ready. They were ready to go for that 72-10 season. And the stuff with the finals in episode 8, interested on some of your guys' thoughts on episode 8 in the finals, when they were playing Gary Payton and the Seattle Supersonics.
Yeah, that was funny. Just Jordan watching Gary Payton. I forgot exactly what he said, but Jordan was watching it. He was just laughing. He was like, "Yeah, he didn't do anything." He was like, "What happened after what was it, after game 1 or 2?"
It was game 4 because they had gone up 3-0.
Oh, yeah.
But that was when Payton got switched to defending Jordan.
Yeah. I remember now. And then he what did he didn't he call him a name or something after while in the
glove, because that was Gary Payton's nickname, was the glove, because he was so good defensively. So they would say you got, smothered up by the glove. But,
so that
he did lock him down for 2 games.
Jordan laughing at it was just like, so like, that's just him. Like, it's so funny.
Yeah. I did mention that was kind of funny. I also wonder if that 72-10 don't mean a thing without a ring. Like, that, obviously that was their phrase back then, but I do wonder if there are like subtle shots being taken at Golden State, at the Golden State team that beat their record and then lost in the finals to LeBron.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
I think how crazy is it that Steve Kerr was a part of both of those?
Right? Insane that he played as one and then he yeah. But I don't know how much you want to remember what was it, 73-9? Was that the record?
Yeah.
I don't know how much he's going to want to remember that season, considering they blew a 3-1 lead. So I don't know how much he really wants to talk about that. But
I think the biggest thing I got out of these 2 episodes and out of this whole series so far is at some of the final statements, almost in episode 8, when they talked about Jordan and his mindset on and off the court, and he goes, I put out my whole heart into this because I got 3 hours. I don't put 3 hours a time for people to watch me in the media, in the moment, for not to perform and be the best. Yeah. And he put his heart and soul and emotions all into that those 3 hours is what it counts to be remembered as. Off the court, he put all the time and effort that people are starting to realize now, but it was those 3 hours, and to just say, in an in and out, outside the box idea or thought, look, I'm in the zone, I'm targeted, I'm spotlighted, time to perform every single time and time after again. It's like in the book that Tim wrote, a cooler is someone who has a good game. And then a closer is someone who can do it a good season, but a cleaner is one who just time and relentlessly, as the title of the book is called, Relentless, time and after again. And they're just never going to stop. Jordan went off after his career and he's made more money outside the NBA. That was just a marketing plan for him. Obviously that's not what his thoughts were, but look, now he's got this, he's a known person, he's in the media, he's all over. And look at his very successful business. My tennis coach I talked to here, he goes, I'm very impressed with that guy because he knows how to run a freaking business. He only shows up to New York State or LA if it's money's on the table. He's not there to mess around. And those are obviously entertaining places. So I think, the way he runs things, the way he operates things, and making relationships. He's in his 50s and he's meeting more and more powerful people down in South Florida to create big things. It's very impressive the way he thinks, and he's never going to stop that. That's who he is. And he openly admits it. He goes, if you don't like me, fine, then it's not going to work, but I'm going to keep going.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys saw the article or if I sent it to you, and his agent was on a podcast and he said Jordan turned down $100 million for a 2-hour appearance.
It's crazy.
Like,
what's $200 million to him though?
Exactly.
I don't know what the equivalent would be. But
he would take that. I think he's giving this to charity. It's not like at some point, when do you want to give? What do you want to give? And how much do you want to give back? And I think that's what's amazing about this. Also, I think one cool thing is he would always try to touch kids' face. I have no chance of ever meeting him. Like his father bringing kids down after the game, or just to inspire someone. And it's basically showing that anyone can do whatever they want to do. And I think we should take this huge thing as a massive learning experience and have everyone be better and perform better in life, whatever you do. So
definitely. Also, it's pretty crazy in episode 8 that they won in '96 on Father's Day. I didn't realize that, his first championship back was won on Father's Day after his father had passed away. It was pretty, just touching to see his, really human side of him in the locker room after they had won, and he was just, crying because he had realized, I did this on Father's Day. In his interview with, I'm pretty sure it was Ahmad Rashad or Bob Costas, that he was just talking after, and you could see, he was definitely on the verge of tears, and just to see how much that meant to him was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was dope. What are your guys' predictions for the final 2 episodes, 9 and 10?
I just feel like they're going to go more in depth after we've gotten over the magic, which also, that was probably my first memories I have was that series, because I'm a Magic fan, because my family, they were, I remember my older cousins were, they were big Hardaway fans and stuff like that, and so, I just remember them being like, oh, we hate this guy Jordan, he's always killing us, and so, I wasn't that was the first series I really remember, and then I just grew up like disliking that. But I think they're going to get more into this playoff run. I mean, obviously they're going to get close to the finals, but just seeing more of. I also feel like they haven't gone that much into '97, so I feel like they'll probably get into the '97 championship a little bit more because I feel like they kind of bounce around between seasons. So I don't know. I'm just interested in this '98 playoff run and just how tired he was.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what we already talked about multiple times. That's what I don't like about it is it bounces around a little too much.
Yeah.
And me and Jason were talking, and we were actually it was funny because I was thinking about like I wonder if his kids are going to get interviewed, but I don't think so. And Jason sent me an interview on them. I didn't read it yet, but
it's just that kind of quote saying dad, he's dad at home. I mean, they've tried to play basketball. It's not for them, and let him go do what they want. I think that's a great father.
Yeah.
And it's kind of some Instagram posts of them smile, and it's something, but it is cool to reflect on all that and see it well-rounded and keep it light, but understand that he's not, trying to push them for go do your passion, do what you love. So it's kind of
what about
everything's.
My last question for 9 and 10? Do you guys think there's going to be something like exclusive, like they've never been seen before or something? There got to be something.
Definitely. For them to bury it this late in the series, there's got to be something that they really, really know is exclusive. But I don't know. What are your predictions for it?
Mine. I mean, yeah, I think I don't know. Like I said, I just want to see something like that. We never like. I don't know. I'm not really sure if the Steve Kerr. Like, obviously, we were little, so I'm not sure if the Steve Kerr incident was like a big story back then or not. So, I thought that was pretty interesting because I never heard that at least. So yeah, I want something. I want some exclusive.
I think they may talk about his afterlife of outside basketball and where his mindset is, and some final statements of what he has to say to be the best. So it'd be very interesting. It's gonna be emotional, but there's gonna be some kind of bet going out with a bang type thing that just hooks you, and maybe creating another series about something, or I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. I'm excited for it.